I'm John Hinkle, the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church here in downtown Murfreesboro on the corner of College and Spring. There I go with my hands again. This is your Saturday morning preview of Sunday morning sermon. Listen, if you aren't, this sounds like I'm trying to make you feel guilty for not being there, but if you weren't there Wednesday, what a moving service. I always laugh at Bobby. Bobby always tells me on Ash Wednesday, the sermon doesn't have to be long. And he's right. It doesn't have to be long. While the word is proclaimed and preached, what is important about Ash Wednesday is that we are together as we are reminded as we begin this journey, this road to Jerusalem that we call Lent, that what is important is that we are together, recognizing our own mortality and at the same time giving thanks to a God who loves us so much. He gave us his only son. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this season of Lent, the road. And of course, I'm kind of basing, as I was in Montreat in January, I'm kind of basing this whole series of sermons on Robert Frost's famous poem, The Road Not Taken. And we're going to examine that. We're going to look at that. Not so much the road not taken, but the road we took or are taking now. And that's the road to Jerusalem. Our text for this Sunday comes to us from the Gospel of Matthew, the 18th chapter, starting at verse 1. And this is what is written. At the time, the disciples came to Jesus, and they were having this debate about who was the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And Jesus called a little child in whom he placed among them. And he said, I tell you, unless you change and become like a child of heart, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes a humble place, becoming like a child, the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we have to become a childlike at heart in order to walk this road that takes us to Jerusalem. And part of what I've been thinking about all week long, as you probably can imagine, as my parents are about to come to Murfreesboro on Sunday, is this understanding of to be a child at heart. What does that mean to be a child at heart? And I was thinking about traveling with my parents, because that's what we're talking about, traveling down this road with Jesus. And I just remember traveling with my parents, how different traveling with children is today compared to when I was a child in the 70s. Totally different. And we're going to talk, I don't want to ruin that, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But part of the experience of traveling with your parents back in the 70s was asking that great and familiar question. I think all of us, children of the 70s, asked our parents, which you know what the question is. Are we there yet? And of course, that was always followed up by how much longer? But one of the things I'm saying in my sermon, and I'm going to kind of tell you right now, the one question I never asked my parents traveling with them in the 70s, whether it was down to Mobile, Alabama or Boynton Beach, Florida, are we on the right road? Are we on the right road? I never asked them that. Why? Because as a child, I placed my trust in my parents that they knew the right road to take. The same is true in this season of Lent. The road in the season of Lent only goes one way, and that is to Jerusalem, and eventually on Good Friday to a hill called Golgotha. That's where this journey goes. That's where the road goes, to Jerusalem. It doesn't go anywhere else. No matter how much we want, no matter how much we would desire it to go somewhere else, it's Jerusalem. And the only way for you to be on this road, I believe, is to have a childlike faith, to trust Jesus, to take a hold of his hand and walk with him. Walk with him to Jerusalem. So I look forward to be with you on this first Sunday of Lent. Kind of a crazy weekend. Have a wedding Saturday. Today, well, I'm doing this on Friday, but Saturday we have a wedding in the morning, and that's great. I love morning weddings. Wish I had a morning wedding. I set the time to my wedding. Leela will make that very clear. But morning weddings are fantastic. I love them. But that being said, I have a wedding. So just kind of a busy weekend, but I am so ready. I am so ready to be with you on this first Sunday of Lent as we discover or rediscover a childlike faith. Shout out to all my super fans who tell me they love Saturday morning preview of Sunday morning sermon. Glenn Emery, Marcy Richmond, Melanie Berry Ship, and then last but not least, Savannah Fraley is inviting all of you to come sit with her on the front pew like she sat last Sunday. All right. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday. I think it's going to be a little bit warmer. That'd be nice.